I was really good. Going to be going over my overall watch list of stocks that I'm going to be looking at going into next week, possibly just strictly Monday, but also could range out throughout the entire week. Overall, we'll see. But ultimately, these are the three stocks that I'm going to be looking at going into next week, consisting of MasterCard, Fubo, and T-Mobile, TMUS, MA, and then FUBO. Okay. Now, first things first, starting off with Fubo, it's going to be on the right hand chart. This is the Robinhood Legend platform. So, as we can see here on the 1 hour time frame, actually, matter of fact, let's start off with the daily time frame. If we can get to this pretty quickly, I don't want this video to be too long. But as we can see, we have been in a pretty strong bullish structure. Yes, we did have this manipulative move down, forming a lower low by taking out the higher low. But obviously, as we can see here by the wick up and flip up to the bullish candle, it was clearly a manipulative move to come up and form a new higher high on the daily time frame to continue its overall bullish structure. Okay. Amongst that, after forming a higher high, we pulled back to this unfilled gap about 50%, exactly where I expected on that 3.61 level. And then after having that bearishness to fill in that gap, we lost that bearishness by forming a pretty strong bullish indecision candle, letting us know that overall we should expect some continuation back upwards to form a new higher high and seek any further highs above. Okay. Now going to the 1 hour time frame, back to the 1 hour time frame. As we can see here, obviously we can see this overall downtrend, this little short little downtrend again to fill in this overall unfilled gap. And then we see the distribution of bullishness we had the first time tapping into the gap. And then we see the lack of momentum of bearishness and distribution of bullishness with these strong wick ups once we pushed a little bit further in the gap and then again lost the momentum. Okay. This lets me know that there is a lot of bullish implications because we seek to fill in the gap. We formed the higher low, continuing the bullish, form bullish structure. And now the ultimate thing that's really going to determine if I execute this is one based on the break above, because we are in bullish structure, the break above the 7 a.m. pre-market high. And most of all, a strong break above this 3.74 structural high right here. Because not everybody can see after hours on the charts, especially if they don't use like Robinhood Legend or they can't see after hours and pre-market on their options brokers. Then the primary thing outside of those 7 a.m. pre-market high and low is going to be that $3.74 structural high, because not only we taken above that, we would form a higher high, but we also already formed a higher low on the 15, 5, and 1 minute time frame right here where my mouse is. And then obviously we'd form a higher high up here. And again, if we can get a strong break past here, we could definitely 100% see price rip all the way up to 393. Only thing really stopping price in its tracks that could stop price in its tracks is this $3.80 structural level right here. But if we can get a strong break above both this level and this level, we could definitely see price continue to this high and even further up. So not only am I looking to catch an intraday trade with Fubo, but I'm also definitely looking for a possible swing position depending on how we can move around that $3.80 level. Now, the great thing about Fubo, other than having a fantastic bullish implicated setup, is that the contracts are fantastic. I'm talking $20 to $100 contracts in the money, low intrinsic value, and super high freaking delta. That's the type of stuff that I'm looking for, especially with the low risk swing position. Do 20 to $40 with a point 0.2 to point 0.5 delta and low intrinsic value. That's going to run you up a freaking bag. Of course, if everything works out as expected. Okay. Obviously, mainly talking about a swing position, even a long-term intraday position, if you get in at the right time and you just freaking hold it. You feel what I'm saying? But Fubo is definitely the number one stock that I'm going to be looking at going into next week. Now, the second thing that I'm going to be looking at is going to be MasterCard. This is going to be on the left-hand screen. Going to the daily time frame, we have been forming bullish structure by forming we formed a lower low, lower high, higher low, higher high. So we have shifted, technically speaking, into bullish structure, but nothing's really going to be said and done until we take out this 575.26 market open high, structural lower high. So until that's taken out, depending on how we take it out and close above it, will really determine if we can expect price to continue bullishness to overall seek to fill in this gigantic market open gap. Okay. Because that's what I'm expecting with the MasterCard, especially considering how strongly bullish we close in the daily. Definitely expecting price to seek to fill in this gigantic unfilled market open gap and possibly take out the structural high all the way up here at 594.770, putting price back on its track to continue its overall bullishness, because I believe we are at all-time highs with MasterCard, and there's definitely good potential to see price seek all-time highs again. Okay. And that's what I'm overall expecting. Now going to the 1 hour time frame. Again, just a more stretched out look of these levels. A strong break above 571.03 is the main thing that I'm looking for, because not only will we be taking out a structural high, but we'll also be taking out and getting above and strongly past a structural level period that price tends to stop at based on previous history. And if we can do those things and get a pullback retest within that area, possibly, dude, definitely expecting price to at least get to 575.26. And as long as we do not wick that high, then we could definitely expect price to seek further up, especially at 594.70. Only thing that could stop price in its tracks is overall the gap and all these structural levels within the gap all the way to the left, all these stoppage points and consolidated areas that price has shown it's clearly been struggling to break past, period. Those are the only things that really could stop price amongst overall just the gap period, just being within the gap. And that's ultimately going to determine what we can expect. But definitely, MasterCard definitely has a lot of bullish implications, especially again, considering how strongly we close with the bullishness on the 1 hour and the daily time frame. And then going to the last stock that I'm going to be looking at is going to be T-Mobile, TMUS. Okay. Now, starting off with the daily time frame, if we can get to the daily time frame really quick. Don't want this video to be too long. It's like my third time or fifth time trying to freaking record this. But when it comes to T-Mobile, similar to MasterCard, closed with a very strong bullish candle after forming a higher low on the daily time frame. Now, the overall structure is pretty bearish with lower highs and lower lows, but we are forming a very strong bullish trend. And the difference from these previous strong bullish trends, just for price to dump all the way down, is that we actually formed a structural higher low and we actually closed with prominency to the buy side. Okay. And if we can get a strong break above this market open gap, and a close above and a pullback and retest off of, definitely expect the price to seek these 1 hour equal highs at 243.27, seek to fill in this unfilled gap from June 9th, take out the higher time frame market open high at 244.91, and possibly take out the lower high at 247.58. Now, going to the 1 hour time frame to stretch everything out a little bit. Again, as we can already see, we've been in pretty strong bullishness. And again, if we can get a strong breakout and close above this market open gap, pull back in here, you best believe we will see price seek these 1 hour equal highs and to seek this completely unfilled gap and take the liquidity within it. Depending on how price wants to react after all of that will really determine if we could see price take out that structural lower high and rip further up from at 247.58, or just completely respect it all, form a lower high on the daily time frame, and then just dump all the way back down. But overall, T-Mobile has a lot of bullish implications and definitely has a good directed path to the buy side, because there is a lot of higher time frame liquidity and obviously not gigantic, but decent size market open gap that's been completely unfilled. And it makes sense for price to at least seek it to form a lower high than dump even further down. But it also has the ability and possibility, which could also make sense, to take out that structural lower high and then shift into bullishness, because everything to an extent has been shifting to the buy side or has been continuing after shifting to bullishness. Now, overall, the main stock I'm going to be looking at is going to be Fubo. Again, fantastic contracts at a fantastic price. That's my risk management strategy with options, is finding contracts that have a good cost compared to delta and intrinsic value. And those are the contracts that I look for. And that's ultimately what determines if I even trade the stock or not, because I want to be able to get good contracts that aren't going to cost me $1,000 just to get a 0.02 delta and 100% intrinsic value. That's freaking nothing. That's a waste of money. I'm probably just going to lose money, even if price even goes in my favor, simply because of the IV. So those are the contracts I'm not looking for. But good contracts at a good cost, especially that first contract, because that's what I'm big on with my risk management, is starting off with a low risk contract. So if it goes sideways, I might lose 20 to 40, maybe $60. But if it goes in my favor, then I can scale in bigger and make even more money. That's what I like with Fubo. They have really fantastic contracts when it comes to managing your risk, and really fantastic contracts when it comes to maximizing your profit. Because again, 20 to $100 in the money, point freaking 2 to 0.5 plus delta, low IV, fan freaking tastic. You feel what I'm saying? So Fubo is definitely the stock that I'm mainly going to be looking at. Amongst that, possibly most likely MasterCard, because the contracts are a little bit better and the IV compared to T-Mobile. But T-Mobile definitely has some possibility and prominence to the buy side as well. But overall, those are the stocks I'm going to be looking at. Again, this video is just to be educational, to help people understand the things that they need to be looking at, the things that they need to be focused on, so they can come up with an actual good, genuine understanding of what they can expect going into the next day, the next week, etc., etc. Okay. And yeah, well, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. God bless y'all, and I will see y'all next time.